What the freak is up, everybody? Coach Chad here, the CEO of the Next Level Coaching Academy and your host for the Fit CEO podcast by Chad Mullen. I hope you guys are doing amazing. I will say, might have had 2 espresso martinis prior to this. Yes, I definitely did. But anyways, this is going to be an amazing podcast. Tipsy or not, I will be delivering the value. So what we're going to be talking about today is we are going to be talking about how to identify challenges in your business. And in addition to that, also what you need to be focused on in your business. And what I notice, obviously, we've helped over 700 coaches at this point in the Next Level Coaching Academy grow and scale their coaching business. And what I've noticed is entrepreneurial tendencies are to be very ADHD, are to be kind of like the squirrel that we see in Ice Age, right? He goes to see the acorn over there, and then he goes to see the acorn over there. And there's a lot of shiny object syndrome that goes on, which can make it very hard and slow our growth in business. So my goal with this podcast is to teach you guys how to stay organized and how to stay focused on the things that are actually going to drive business forward. And this is something that I've gotten a hell of a lot better at in 2021. It's something that I've been really intentional about, and it's something that I've ranked myself on a weekly basis. And the ranking will make more sense for you guys as we get through the podcast. Okay. So this framework on how to identify challenges in your business and how to identify what to focus on in your business is not something I created. It's something that one of my mentors created, but I'm compelled to share it with you guys. And it's something that we teach our NLCA students as well. All right. So what the framework says is that there's 5 main areas of focus in your business. All right. And these are the 5 areas that essentially drive the business forward. And what those are is number 1, lead generation, your ability to get leads, right? Number 2 is your show up rate, which is your ability to get the leads to actually show up on the sales call, right? Because if they don't show up on the sales call, it's basically a wasted lead. Right. Number 3 is your closing percentage, which is your ability to close the deals that actually show. Number 4 is client delivery. So your ability to get your clients results. And then lastly, number 5 is retention, which is your ability to re-sign your clients over and over and over again. Okay. So these are the 5 main levers in your business: lead generation, show up rate, closing rate, client delivery, and client retention. So something that I do, and this alone should provide you with all the value that you need in this podcast. If there's anything that you take away, it's understanding those 5 aspects. But here's the exercise that you can take yourself through on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis, you should be able to rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 in each of these areas. Okay. So let's say you go through lead generation's a 4, show up rate's a 4, closing's a 2, client delivery is a 2, and retention is, I don't know, a 4 or something, right? So looking at that, the 2 areas that you need to focus on then are closing and client delivery. And that's the beauty of going through this exercise, is it allows you to pinpoint, all right, I'm good here, I'm good here, I'm good here, I'm not so good here, I'm not so good here, and I'm good here. Great. Those 2 areas that I'm not very good at, that's what's going to take 100% of my focus right now. And I don't need to do all these other crazy things that we think we need to do. We only need to focus on the 5 levers that are actually going to drive the business forward. All right. And that's why it's been so helpful for me, is it's simplified the process. Because when we're entrepreneurs, right, when we're business owners, and I could take a deep breath saying it, there's a lot on our plate, but a lot of the things that we have on our plate aren't actually going to move the business forward. And if we focused on the things that are actually going to move the business forward, we'll be able to get results a hell of a lot faster. Okay. So there's a second aspect to this. All right. So let's say that we identify that closing is our biggest problem. We just have a really hard time closing deals, right? So now you could take that a step further and identify which of these 3 is the issue in the closing aspect of your business. All right. So taking a step further, this is the next framework that you would have to take yourself through. All right, cool. Closing rate is my problem. Is it a person? So if you have a team and you have multiple people taking your sales calls, is it a person? Is it somebody on your team that is really, really struggling? Or maybe a person can also mean, is there a lack of people taking your sales calls? Do you have so many leads and not enough closers to facilitate the leads? That could be another problem, right? So person means one of two things. You need more people, or there's somebody on your team that isn't very good, right? Number two would be a skill. Okay, cool. Is there a specific skill that we're missing, right? All right, I'm noticing that, myself, this doesn't have to be just for people that have teams. This can also be something that you take yourself through if you're just a one man or one woman show. Maybe you're not very good at objections, or maybe your team isn't very good at objections, right? These are examples of skills. Maybe y'all are not very good at, actually following the script. Maybe y'all aren't very good at pinpointing what the challenge is. Maybe y'all aren't very good at presenting the program, right? These are all skills that you can identify and pinpoint as the actual problem, right? So a part of this framework is it a person? Is it a skill? Or the last one is it the process? And examples of that would be, is our sales process messed up? Is the way that we get people from interested to booking a call, maybe the script is messed up. Maybe after the call, after the close, the post closing transition into them becoming a client is messed up and they're backing out, right? This would be identifying the process and see if there's anything in the process that needs to be fixed. Okay. So that's the second framework. The second framework is, all right, I've identified that one of these five is my challenge: lead gen, show up rate, closing rate, client delivery, or client retention. Great. Now, is it a person? Is it one of the people that are operating these systems, or do we not have enough people? Is it a skill? Is there a specific skill tied to one of these five that is missing, or that we need to coach, or that we need to learn if you're a one man or one woman show? Or is the process that we're trying to execute not really efficient? We need to change, just hit my mic, or we need to change the whole entire process. So shorter podcast, but this is the framework that I take myself through. So on a weekly basis, I will rank the business on where we're at in each of these areas. I'll do this at the end of the month as well. And this is also how I create my next month and my next week, depending on where we're faulting, is where the focus will be on improving for the next month and for the next week, so on and so forth. All right. So short podcast, extremely powerful. Why is it extremely powerful? Because most entrepreneurs are, chasing the acorn, just like whatever that squirrel's name is inside of Ice Age, right? And they're not actually focused on things that can get them from A to B faster, right? So working through this framework will allow you to straighten the arrow between where you're at and where your goal is, opposed to just bouncing around like crazy and then eventually, hopefully, ending up where you want to be. Okay, so these are the five most important levers in business. This is how you can rank yourself on where you lie in each of those five. And then once you choose your weak areas in each of those five, that's how you develop, or that's how you figure out which of those three is the actual issue. Is it a person? Is it a skill? Is it a process? And once again, those five are lead generation, show up rate, closing rate, client delivery, and client retention. Guys, thank you so much for listening. This is a framework that has definitely changed the game for me. Please write it down. Please use it. Please rank yourself. Let me know how it goes, and we'll chat soon. Peace.